at jobs, not 500-person jobs or 100-person jobs. We need to look at jobs. I would rather have 10 new businesses come to Horry County that have 10 people than one business with 100 people. And I think we need to start refocusing that and looking at that and make sure that the criteria that we've set forth for the EDC and the goals that we set for them are really realistic.
All right. Let's move on to the next question. And I think all of this kind of centers around jobs if you get right down to it anyway. And I want to talk about infrastructure because better infrastructure could lure companies here. Aside from I-73, because we're going to get to that in just a moment, what infrastructure improvements need to be made in Horry County, and what would you spearhead, and how would you pay for these projects? Let's start on the other end this time. Mark Lazarus, you get to go again.
Well, we need an internal road system. That is one of the biggest obstacles that we have. We need to be able to move people internally. Once we get I-73 here, we've got to be able to move the people. We've got 501. I came in tonight at 501. There was one little fender bender and we were at a dead standstill. We've got to do better. We've got to fix 501. We've got to study it and we've got to learn how to do it and do it the right way. I believe that we'll be looking at a Ride 3 program that will be coming soon. Ride 2 is getting ready to expire. It'll go to the public. We will give it to the people of Horry County to decide. We'll decide what roads need to be fixed. We need interconnectivity throughout the Carolina Forest area. Fix Postal Way to where it goes all the way to Tanger Outlet. Get International Drive paved. Take International Drive through what I call GC Realty's property so you have an interloop connectivity that takes people all the way around, and then continue our program of paving the dirt roads throughout Horry County. But we've got to be able to move the people.
All right. Liz Gillen, infrastructure projects outside of I-73.
The Southern Evacuation Lifeline. More importantly, though, or backing up, the idea of having a Ride 3 is critical. Ride 2 rolls off, that penny rolls off this year, and we need a chairman to lead the council to put another referendum before the people. 3 times it failed under 3 different chairmen. Under my leadership, the people passed that penny sales tax, which is what we now use for Ride 2. And I always thought it had something to do with the fact that they trusted the person leading council. And because they knew that I was honest with them and that when we said it would roll off, it would do so. And it's going to do that this year. So it's critical that we have a council that the public trusts to do what they say, so that when they have the option of voting yes or no for another penny, they do just that. The projects are the cut-through roads, the Southern Evacuation Lifeline, extension of 9, and on. Everybody's kind of got their own little roads that they care for depending on what part of the county they live in. We will not lack for having road needs, but we do need to make sure we pass a 3rd ride plan.
All right. Fonzie Lewis, improving infrastructure outside of I-73.
Outside of 73. 501 is the main concern. 501 for years has been overlooked. It's and I would say it's because of lack of leadership that we've had in the past. 501 should have a lot more overpasses. It should have turn lanes. We have an overpass in Aner, which is a very good overpass, but that overpass should have been placed at Carolina Forest. So here again, that was lack of leadership, but it's still a very good overpass, but it's just at the wrong place at the wrong time. We just need to move forward. We've got the Intercoastal Waterway that we could carry all kind of freight up and down from town to town. So there's just so many avenues that we could look at with big nice boat docks, and we need to be using the Atlantic Ocean out here for all kind of activities to bring in, especially from the Georgetown port.
All right. Debbie Harwell?
Well, I work on transportation projects for a living, so that's why I think that I can lead this council and we can get to where we're going. Number 1, our main evacuation route here is Highway 501. If you don't know it, Highway 501 is out of evacuation hours. We cannot get the people out of here on 501. We were having a Southern Evacuation Lifeline meeting. It was with all of the stakeholders, committees from Georgetown County, committees from Horry County. We were having a meeting and there was a tractor trailer truck that had gone across the bridge at the Granger plant. People could not get to our meeting because of that. What if that happens during a major evacuation? Something has to happen. We need an interchange at Carolina Forest. I'm kind of tired of sitting in the traffic over there at Carolina Forest. I'm kind of tired of coming down Highway 90 and it being so slow too. But in Carolina Forest, there is such growth there that we've got to help them. We do have to have an interchange at Carolina Forest. We need to widen the road at Carolina Forest. We need to pave International Drive. It's on the road, it's on the map that we have now. That's on the referendum that will sunset, but hopefully we'll get down to that. We need so many roads. The Southern Evacuation Lifeline is the lifeline for the south end of this strand. It only takes 12 minutes to get from Bucksport straight across over to the Surfside area. People in that area can come to the hospital, get their educational facilities. It's something that needs to be done. At 35 miles per hour, the bridge at Georgetown is closed. They need a way out. We need to fix that before we have some type of hurricane come in. I don't want to scare everybody, but I have looked at the storm surge maps and they are scary. They go all the way on the other side of the waterway. So I think we need a Southern Evacuation Lifeline, which makes a loop all the way around the Grand Strand. And of course, as well as we're looking at now to go ahead and finish the extension of 31 to the south end, 31 to the north end.
All right. Al Allen.
You hear about our needs, but you don't hear very much about solutions. Our solutions to this is currently we have over $400 million sitting in the bank under the RIDE 2. We cannot proceed forward with the Highway 707 and the extension of Highway 31, at which we've already got the money to pay for because of lawsuits from environmentalists and special interest groups. How do we fix this, folks? I propose to ask our State House to pass a law when these people are going to file a simple lawsuit to hold up such major projects. They should have to post a bond and have some skin in the game, because if they lose their lawsuit, they forfeit their bond. They're holding up the will of the people. We've got the money to finish some of these projects. We need the sale. We're going to have to look beyond Washington. They're broke, folks. No money's coming from there, and our state is currently looking at pushing off some state roads on to the counties now. How do we pay for that? We're going to have to think outside the box and really work towards having hopefully a RIDE 3, because that's the way that we've always taken care of our own needs here in Horry County. We can do it again, but it's going to take good leadership, and it's going to take someone that understands and sees what the holdups are.
All right, well, talking about long-awaited projects, now let's get to I-73. Understanding that this really isn't a county issue so much as it is a federal issue and a state issue. However, as the leader of our county, you might be able to put some pressure on the people in the state and in the federal government to get I-73 off the ground. Is that something you're interested in pursuing? Al Allen.
Tim, we need interstate access here in Horry County. We have to have it. How do we get there? We don't have the $1 billion that is projected for us to have that. So we have to seek federal and state and also private assistance in it. There are ways and there are other methods we can seek after that. But again, that's going to take working with our federal elected officials and our state. And it's going to take someone who is not just asking for specific items, but someone who is working to try to better the whole of Horry County. We must and we need interstate access. We've got to find a way to get there.
Do you agree, Debbie Hartwell?
We need a 4-lane highway to the interstate. We have to have it. Economic development has had a lot of challenges because 1, we don't have deep in ports. 2, we don't have a 4-lane highway to the interstate. But ways to pay for that, we have something called concessionaires in the United States. These are people who are big financiers and come in and actually construct on their dollar. There are ways to actually pay for I-73 without going to the federal government. It would be wonderful if the federal government handed us a check to pay for it. But we've been independent here in Horry County, and it's time for, I'm tired of hearing about it. It's time to finish the job. Everybody's been doing a sales job. It's time to go ahead and sign the deal, close the deal. Let's get that road done. Let's do it through a triple P process, which is a public-private partnership.
All right. Fonzie Lewis, I-73, what would you do as the county's leader to make it finally get somewhere?
Well, I've said many times, I-73, we do need an interstate here very badly. But I-73, we've worked on it for over 30 years. Y'all, what is the problem? 30 years has been spent. Money, time, expense. It's just not working. Let's move on. I-73 in the future. But we've got 2 interstates at our back door. Let's look at tying into those 2 interstates. Interstate 20, Interstate 95. Why have we not tied into those in the past years? We are 50-some years behind on roads. For some reason, those roads have not been tied into. If we had wanted an interstate here, with this being the cash cow of the state, we would already have that interstate. So our leaders have not worked. They don't want the interstate here yet. So once we get some good leaders in place, we can move forward and we'll tie into one of these interstates that's badly needed.
Liz Gillen, I-73.
Almost every leader in any position of significance in Horry County for the past 15 years has been hammering Washington about I-73. We've gone to other states. We've gone wherever we needed to go to try to raise the flag and sound the alarm and stir up interest. So I would do no different. I would continue doing just that. I'm more concerned about the interstate connecting from 95 down here. I don't care when they connect 95 to the north and to the rest of the states, but just get Horry County to 95. We built 22 to interstate standards. All we need is to put 6 feet of asphalt or concrete on either side, on the outside of the lanes, and it is built to interstate standards per federal regulations. So I say we go ahead and finish doing that, and then finish our portion all the way up to the PD River, which is our border, and then do whatever it takes to get that other little short stretch done. I think it can be done. While I was on council, we built $2 billion, billion with a B, worth of roads in Horry County within our borders. So that's an incredible number, but it can be done. We had some state help, we had some federal help, but most of it came from right here. And so if we set our minds to it, we can find the money, we can have it done.
All right. Mark Lazarus, I-73.
Absolutely, we need I-73. I-73 is critical to bringing in certain types of jobs. It's going to be critical for evacuation purposes and the safety of our people in Horry County, and a lot of ideas. But ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot of other critical needs that we have. We have an uprising of crime in this area. We need to move the people around. If I-73 is to be financed by a private company that is to come in, I would think they would have already come in because it would be a moneymaker for them. So I'm not so sure. I would certainly investigate it, but I'm not so sure that a private company coming in to participate in it, if it was, they would have already been here. We need to work on the infrastructure needs that we need right now in Horry County. Will we go to Washington and work with our delegation in Washington and Columbia and everywhere else to try to bring the dollars in that we need? Absolutely, it's a critical need, but we have bigger, more critical needs for the people of Horry County. We need jobs right now, today for them. It's going to be a while before we get I-73, so we better figure out how to get those jobs that they need so we can raise the income levels of the individuals in Horry County, and so we can move the people around that we have as tourism is on the rise. Thank you.
We have a little bit of time left before we have to take a break, and Debbie Harwell, it sounded like you wanted to interject on something Mr. Lazarus had to say.
The concessionaires have been here, and the concessionaires have laid the money on the table. But because of the leadership, we haven't gotten to the end game. We need someone who understands transportation to get us there. Someone who knows what a concessionaire is and what they have to do and the arrangements to be made. It can be done, and it can be done quickly. We missed a concessionaire. A second concessionaire came in. But we need people who know exactly how to put the dots together in order to get this plan completed.
Mark?
Jim, I would concede that we do have people in place that are doing that today. We've got a lot of good people that have been working on I-73 for a long time, including Ms. Harwell. And I give her accolades for the job that she's done in helping with it. But the fact is, it's not here. We don't have it. We want it. We're going to have to work hard for it. We're going to have to go lobby in Washington in order to get it and find the dollars elsewhere. But until then, we need to make sure we're taking care of the people of Horry County.
Anybody else want to chime in on this before we go to break?
I would say until the good old boys come together and decide that they're going to give up a piece of the pie here in Myrtle Beach. That's the reason the interstate hadn't come in. They're not wanting to give up their piece of the pie. So until they're willing to give it up, then we won't have an interstate until that happens.
Okay. Anybody else? All right. Why don't we take a quick commercial break? When we come back, we're going to take some questions from viewers, and I got to say, they sent in some pretty great ones. Stay with us. We'll be right back with the 5 candidates for Horry County Council Chair. That kind of how we're doing things right now?
That's great.
A little. Okay.
3 minutes.
Welcome back to the Horry County Council Chairman Debate 2013.
We finished, I think, with Mark on that one, so we'll be starting with Al Allen on this one.
Welcome back to the Horry County Council Chairman Debate 2013.
Welcome back to the Horry County Council Chairman Debate. Our candidates are here, and my notes, somehow I messed up a little bit, so if you can hang on with me for 1 second. There we go. We're going to take some questions from viewers now, and we had some really great ones come in, so let's start off. The first one came from Kevin Gauss. He asked, how can each candidate take their business experience and apply it to the seat they're running for to make the county operate more efficiently? We're going to start with Al Allen.
Thank you, Tim. Well, folks, I have worked for government in a capacity as a law enforcement officer. I've also served on the county council, so I'm the only one up here that has seen it from both sides. I also started a business from scratch in 2001. Without any family help, without any inheritance, I started from scratch. Shanda, my wife, and I have worked hard and turned that business into a profitable business with hiring local people here. We don't hire outside folks, we hire local people. We keep our business local. The only difference between balancing a checkbook in a small business and a large one is just moving over a couple of zeros. knowing that you can't spend any more than what you take in. So in turn, every year since I have been on the county council for the last 6 years, our staff has worked with the council and our operating budget has actually shrunk every year. We've got a wonderful staff, we've got a good council in place. With my business leadership and also as a pastor working with conflict resolution, I know how to roll up my sleeves and get involved and work with people and find a good compromise that is good for everybody without overspending and overreaching. We've seen too much of that up the road, and we don't need that here.
All right. Debbie Harwell, same question to you from Kevin Gause. How can you take your business experience and apply it to the seat you're running for to make the county operate more efficiently?
Well, I have to say, I've also seen it from both sides. I worked in the solicitor's office in Horry County a long time ago and in the coroner's office a long time ago. But from my side, I started the Myrtle Beach Herald newspaper. I started the Business Journal. I've worked on transportation projects in the company that I have right now. I know what it is to come up Friday afternoon and sweating because you need to make payroll. I know you have to make the bottom line balance. I started the Myrtle Beach Herald newspaper on a shoestring. And when I got through, it was a healthy paper that's been in existence for 19 years. The Myrtle Beach Herald is still in existence to this day. I know what the business licenses are like. I know the tax implications. I know what it's like in order to get all types of permitting. It should be easier for businesses. Horry County's there to make it easier for businesses. I've been out in the country and I find little places that are trying to add 3 jobs, 4 jobs, 5 jobs, and they're coming across some roadblocks, whether it be for permitting, whether it be for something that costs too much or something they can't get. We need to help our own businesses in Horry County, and I think I know how to do that from coming from a small business background.
All right. Fonzie Lewis, how can you take your business experience and apply it to Horry County Council Chair seat to make the county operate more efficiently?
Well, I like to say that I come from 3 walks of life. As a child, a young man growing up, I was raised on the farm. We worked in the fields from dark to dark. You'd get up in the dark and go to work, and you'd have to finish in the dark. After finishing high school, I went on into the corporate world. Moving along, I was in the corporate world for 30 years. I've been to 48 different states. I've worked in all 48 different states. I've got a wealth of knowledge that I'm bringing back home from the places that I visited and working there. I wasn't just there for weeks at the time. I was in these places for months at the time. So with that knowledge, I'm bringing back. Along with that, I've owned my own business, a family business for 28 years, and tying these 3 lifestyles together, I have a wealth of knowledge to bring forward to the county. I've met all types of people from all walks of life, so I know how to pull people together. I know how to get them on the same team, and that's what I want to do, is make the county one team to work together.
All right. Liz Gillen, how can you use your business experience to make the county run more efficiently?
The last time I formed my own business, I was living in Nashville in about 1985. Prior to that, I was in education. I worked at Furman University. And so I came home in 1990 to essentially to help my parents. So I was a caretaker most of the time that I was on county council for my parents who had hit their 80s, and then until both of them eventually passed away. So outside of county government, there hasn't been but part-time jobs, because to me, county government was a full-time job, especially once I became chairman. And for 8 years, that was my full-time job. So the experience that I have is the institutional knowledge, having been there, having seen what works, what doesn't work in county government, having seen what the people like, what they don't like. I know the history, I know the players. So that's the experience that I bring to this job, and that's the experience you want. If you look at the campaign paraphernalia that is around now, you won't see a whole lot with my name on it. I like to use the term frugal. Some people say cheap. But if I'm that frugal with my money, and I don't want to collect and raise and spend a whole lot of everybody else's money, if I'm watching every dime that I spend, I'm not a bad person to put in charge of a $300 million budget that is your money, because you want somebody that's frugal and careful with a dollar dealing with your county funds. So that's the experience I have, and it was good enough for 8 years. I was re-elected, so the first 4 were pretty good, and I'd love to get back in there again.
Mark Lazarus, how can you use your business experience to make the county operate more efficiently?
Well, Tim, let me say I have a vast business experience, as everybody knows. My family moved to the Myrtle Beach area, Horry County, back in 1976. At that time, we came here with virtually nothing but 2 cars and our shirts on our backs, basically. And I learned what hard work was at that time, really hard work from my father, that you pull up your bootstraps and you get moving forward. You don't look back, and you make things happen. And during that time, we helped together build a family business. I was 15 years old at the time. As I tell everybody at the Myrtle Beach Grand Prix, they had fun rides, but I had to sweep cigarette butts and clean toilets for the first year. So I learned what it is to start at the ground up. But through those years, I managed to work my way up and work hard, use that hard work that I know about to earn a preferred walk-on position at the University of North Carolina to play football there. After playing football there, I came home, and instead of going right into the family business, I helped open a business called Showbiz Pizza up on Restaurant Row. It was the #1 restaurant of the kind in the nation for the first year that we ran it. After that, my father decided that he wanted to buy his partners out of the business that he had, and he wanted to expand it. So we met, and together we expanded that business and we grew it. Approximately 23 years ago, we built Wild Water and Wheels, which was a big undertaking, huge undertaking. We had to finance it. We had to find the financing. We had to put the budgets together, and we had to start it from the ground up. I've started several other businesses throughout the community and been involved in other businesses that give me the experience of budgeting. You need to know how to budget. You need to know how to balance the checkbook. You need to know how to get financing in place. And most of all, you need to know how to reach out and find the resources to be able to get things done. I believe with my background serving on Horry County Council from 2002 to 2006, understanding how government works, understanding how private business works, understanding how small business works, and understanding the needs that the people in Horry County, small businesses need to help get through the bureaucratic process, I believe I can get there and help and fix the problems that they have. Thank you.
All right. The next question comes from Chris Castains. He asks, what does this position pay and how much are you spending to get it? I'm going to answer the first part of the question for you. $25,750 a year plus a small expense account. Mark Lazarus, that's what it pays. How much are you spending to get the seat?
Well, I think they've already announced it in most of the newspapers, on all the media. We're at about $68,000, and we'll spend a little more. You know, why do we have to spend that money? I've got to get my message out. I've got to let the people know this is a big county. We've got to let the people know that this is a critical job, this important job, and that we have the background, we have the experience to be able to bring the leadership that we need to help the people of Horry County to move forward, to help bring the jobs, to help fix the roads, to help fix all the needs that we may have throughout this county, and make sure that we continue with a balanced budget and not raise taxes on the good people of Horry County.
Liz Gillen, it pays $25,750. How much are you spending to get it?
I will probably end up spending about $4,000. I have recycled some old signs that I had from another campaign, and I still have some that I haven't put out because I learned last time I ran, well, every time I've run, your opponents steal your signs. So in order that I have a few left out there for the final few days, I've still held a few back. But I'm frugal in it because the trick is, the paper reports, and we have to report 15 days out before the election, which was last week, what we've raised, what we've spent so far. A good politician will keep most of the checks. They'll write the checks after those 15 days. They'll post their money after those 15 days so that you won't know until 2 weeks after the election that they actually collected and spent $250,000. I can tell you I'll spend about $4,000.
Fonzie Lewis?
And to add to what Liz said, if you've ordered merchandise and your signs have come in, you don't have to show that until the bill comes in, until you pay it. So you may have $60,000 in signs, but you don't show that up front. But I have raised no money. The only money I'm using is my own money. It will be around $4,000. And let me tell you why I hadn't raised any money. It's hard times out there. And it's hard times for me, and I know it's hard times for you, the people out there. And I can't go to you and ask you for money when you're struggling already to pay your bills and to put food on the tables. So I'm using what money I have to get by with.
All right, Debbie Harwell?
I would have loved to have spent $4,000. Well, we're at around $29,000 and we probably have to spend just a little bit more, but it's because I had no name recognition. I am the new guy. I've never been on council before. I didn't have the name recognition from being on council and being on television and receiving those free ads. I wanted to help this county enough to make sure that I had signage out there also, and we keep having to replenish our signage because whole towns and whole streets seem to be disappearing. So we just had to work on our name recognition. That's why it's costing us so much.
Al Allen, how much are you spending?
Tim, currently we've spent somewhere around $5,000. A lot of that has been our own funding. We have had tremendous amount of signs stolen. We have actually caught someone stealing some of our signs. The way that I view this is that I would be highly questionable of a person in these times, tough economic times, to where folks are out there struggling, and the mean income in this county is somewhere around $32,000 annually, and someone who is spending 2, 3, 4, even 5 times what your annual salary is for a part-time position. I think that is something that's extremely questionable, and it ought to throw up red flags. Why are they spending it? I've read and said that a good name is better than great riches. And just being on the county council does not get your name out there, but being raised up and working with your community and interacting with people through your business or your churches every day and keeping your word and your promises and setting good examples. That's what gets your name out, and that's what causes the citizens of the county to trust you.
Debbie Harwell and Mark Lazarus, you both were kind of called out in that one because you've raised significantly more money than the other three up here. Do you want to respond to that at all?
I would like to, please. Throughout the county, I've raised money throughout the county. People bring me money. I had somebody hand me a check today, a $25 check. If you look at the list of contributions that I have, it's long. A lot of people, it's not just a few. They're anywhere from $25 to $50, $75 to the maximum amount. It's because the people trust in me because I do have a good name throughout Horry County, and because I've been able to establish myself throughout the years, and I've been able to put myself out in front of the people, and they want to see a true leader come forward and take over and help run Horry County.
Debbie?
I'm going to go back to my same answer because I do believe that being in the newspaper at least once a week or twice a month, being on television twice a month, I do believe that raises your name recognition. And although I would have loved to have spent $4,000, only $4,000, that would have been wonderful, but I didn't have the name recognition, and I had to do something to gain that recognition in order to win this race because I want to help Horry County. That's the only reason I'm in this race. I don't work for anybody. I don't have to answer to anybody. I'm not held accountable to any special interest group. I'm myself, and I'll make my decisions with my conscience.
I want to go back to one more thing that I think both Liz and Fonzie touched on. Maybe Debbie did as well, or maybe Fonzie didn't. But at any rate, is anybody stealing signs? Okay.
Yes.
Just had to address it real quick. Yes. Okay. I want to do this as a lightning round. So where I have been really not timing you on your questions or your answers so far, this time I'm going to. I'd like you to keep it to maybe 15, 20 seconds because we're running out of time and I want to get to a few more issues. We're going to start down with, I believe we start with Mark Lazarus this time. Right. And the question is, 15 seconds, under any circumstances would you vote to raise taxes?
Under any circumstances would I vote to raise taxes? Not before I have dug into the budget and found every need, and if it is a critical need that impairs the safety and the well-being of the people of Horry County, would I consider it.
Liz Gillen?
None that I can think of right off, but exactly what Mark said. The safety and well-being of the people of the county should take priority, but that would be a real last resort.
Fonzie Lewis, under any circumstances, raising taxes?
Not at this time. I would look at the wasteful spending that we have. I think it's out of control. So once we get that under control, we wouldn't need to raise taxes.
Okay. Debbie Harwell.
I've been out there. People can't afford a raise in taxes right now. We're in some pretty tough economic times. People are having a struggle just putting food on the table and paying their bills. So I would say there's not anything that I can think of right now that I would raise taxes for. You got to think out of the box in order to reduce these expenses.
Al Allen.
Well, sir, if I knew what was going to happen tomorrow or next week, I wouldn't be here. But I will say this, before I would support a tax increase on the good citizens of the county, it would have to be an extreme situation, and then I would like to present the case before the people and have their say-so on it.
Thank you for answering quickly. Let's keep it up. Building on that question, outside of raising taxes to increase revenues, how would you increase revenue, and would it include cutting in any departments? Al Allen.
Well, sir, there are always things we can do, but I'd love for somebody to show me at where the wasteful spending is out of control with Horry County. We got a good staff. We got some good senior leadership who are already bringing their thoughts and ideas to the council, finding ways to continue improving services with the citizens.
Debbie Harwell.
Well, I also agree. We got one of the best staffs in Horry County that you've ever seen, and we need to take care of them. There are some pressing issues that are going to present challenges for us to look at the economy of this entire county and the budget. How would we increase that? I've not been on council, so I'm not sure if there is wasteful spending or not. I don't think there's a lot, but I know that I think out of the box and I can actually come up with some ideas that will create additional income.
Fonzie Lewis.
The question again?
The question again is, outside of increasing taxes, how would you raise revenue? Is there any departments you think need to be cut in the county?
Well, I understand that some cuts have already taken place within the county, like in the polices. We've already reduced some of those cuts. I wouldn't want to make these cuts, but revenue, we've already looked, everybody's looked to try to find ways to make more revenue, and it's just not there. So eventually you would have to look at making more cuts.
Liz Gilland.
When we passed our first ride plan back in the late 90s, we passed a hospitality fee to pay for those roads. We've got 2 bonds in Columbia. Both of those bonds will be paid up within the next few years. We are averaging about $25 million a year that will be then sitting in the lap of Horry County Council. I think it is critically important to have someone that the people trust, someone who is frugal, someone who's going to watch those dollars to see how they're spent, because that's going to be how we meet the need.
Mark Lazarus.
We need increased revenue. We need increased revenue because we need to work with the employees of Horry County. We need to work with them on their health benefits that has just been taken away, a good bit of it. But where we're going to find it, one avenue is vacation rentals by owner. There is a tremendous amount of people from out of the state that own properties here that are going to VRBO, vacation rentals by owner, and are not paying the hospitality fees and accommodations taxes that they should be collecting and paying to the local governments and the state.
Okay. We are really running out of time here. I want to squeeze in one more question, so I ask you to please try to keep it to 15 seconds on this one. Last question for you. Every year, thousands of motorcycles visit the Grand Strand for the May Harley Rally. The council controls how permits are given for the event. Should the county be motorcycle friendly or not? We start with Mark Lazarus on this one. Please keep it to 15 seconds.
I believe we are people friendly. I believe council has set a standard in there, has set the number of vendors that are in there. I welcome everybody to come to Horry County as long as you're going to behave, abide by our rules, and our police force will be watching you.
Liz Gilland.
As a tourist destination, I think we have to have open doors and open arms to all of our visitors. I do believe, however, that there are laws and there are rules that need to be followed, but other than that, completely shutting them out and shutting them down killed some small business owners in the Myrtle Beach area a few years ago when all the brouhaha happened. And I think that was a wrong move, done the wrong way. I think we still need to open our arms to them, but watch them carefully.
Fonzie Lewis.
Once again, that was a lack of leadership to stop the bikers or anyone else from coming to Horry County. We need every person, every car, every motorcycle we can get to roll this way. And I would support motorcycles more than twice a year. Bring them on in.
Debbie Harwell.
Well, I look at it a little bit differently because we're not talking about motorcycle riding here. Well, you can ride a motorcycle 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's not what we're talking about on this panel. They're asking the question about permits. That's the question at hand. When you're talking about the motorcyclists, you're talking about a tourist. We're to welcome all tourists, but also a lot of these people had condos. They just went home and got their motorcycle and came back and vacationed in their own condo. And because they didn't feel welcome, they sold their condo and they went home.
Need you to wrap it up, Debbie. Sorry. Al Allen.
Yes, sir. We should be happy to see them, but also have our law enforcement target the troublemakers and pull them out of the mix and allow the good people to enjoy their vacation.
All right. Very good. Now we are down to the last few minutes of the show, and I want to give everybody 1 minute to make the pitch. I always end Carolina this week on Sunday mornings with a candidate asking, why should I vote for you? Well, I want you to answer that question one more time for the people watching tonight. Al Allen, why should I vote for you?
One more time. I want to thank the good citizens of Horry County for taking out of your time to watch your 5 candidates here tonight. Good leadership isn't about bad examples. Good leadership is about positive examples, good character, and strong integrity. I would ask you for your prayers and support and join the A team on March the 12th and vote for Al Allen. Thank you, God bless you, and let's roll.
Debbie Harwell, why should I vote for you?
Well, I've got some projects here that I would like to finish. I'm the new guy on council. I'm the only one that has not warmed the seat other than Fonzie. I think that I've got ideas to present. I think out of the box. I'm a transportation specialist. I think I can get it done. I've also been an employee of Horry County. I know how it feels. Your company's only as good as your employees. So we need to make sure that we treat them very well. Also, we need to make sure that we facilitate things a little bit better. I don't care if you have a state problem, you have a federal problem. If we can help you facilitate that problem, I want to make sure that we do that. Tell you where to call and make sure that you get a phone call back.
Fonzie Lewis.
Listen, real good, people out in TV land. 18 years ago, I was given 6 months to live. And since that time, I've put God first in my life, family, and then work. I want to ask you some questions. Have anybody been have you been without a job? Have you been on food stamps? Have you been to school as a child and couldn't pay for your lunch? Have you been on unemployment? Have you been not able to pay your bills? Have you had to struggle to pay bills? Well, listen, I've been there. I've been in that situation. I know your needs. I feel the pain that you've had. So I ask for your vote on March the 12th because I know where you're at and I know where we need to take you.
All right. Liz Gillen, why should I vote for you?
You know, I'm not the youngest, I'm not the cutest, I'm not the most well-funded. I was not perfect when I led the council for 8 years. But the taxes were lower when I left than when I began. We had some huge successes. I helped bring a $23 million expansion of Met Glass in. I helped bring Pittsburgh Aviation in, a number of companies that have been successes here. I love this county. You can trust me. I'm not a part of the good old boy system. I fought against them for 16 years to make things fair for everybody. And I would love to get back on council and continue to do just that. Experience counts. I've been there. I can do that.
Mark Lazarus.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you to everybody taking your time again tonight to watch this. And please take the time to go out and study the candidates. And I want you to look clearly to see who has the leadership experience, who has the business background, and who genuinely cares about Horry County. I believe that I'm the person that can do that. I feel that I'm the one that can step out, I can reach across the aisles, I can bring the leadership to help all the council members help in their districts because this is a large, vast county and each district has different problems and needs that they need. I'm the one, I believe, with my background and my abilities that can reach out across the aisles and help bring everybody and bring consensus amongst council and get things done and help raise the bar for all the citizens of Horry County. I appreciate the time. And I would appreciate your vote on March the 12th, and God bless everyone. Thank you.
March the 12th is 1 week from today when Horry County voters can go and vote for one of these 5 candidates. I want to say good night to you one more time, so let's start down the aisle with Mark Lazarus, Liz Gilland, Fonzie Lewis, Debbie Harwell, and Al Allen. I've interviewed each of these candidates before on my show Carolina This Week. You can go to your website, carolinalive.com, and you can find links to watch those interviews if you want to get to know more about these candidates. Again, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for watching. I hope you go out and vote next Tuesday, March 12th. We'll see you back here at 11 o'clock for WPDE News Channel 15 at 11. I'm Tim McGinnis.